All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Wednesday, June 28th. Happy Wednesday to everyone out there. We got a jam-packed MLB slate to jump into today. We're gonna go through each and every game like we always do. We'll talk about the game. I'll break it down. I'll give you my lean or leans on the games, but all my final plays, what I'm actually gonna roll with myself, in case you want to ride with me or if you want to fade me, those plays will be in the pinned comment. Coming off a nice little get the applause here. A nice little mini sweep 2-0 night. The Braves and the Twins cashed their under. They finished at 8, but they were at 8 for like 5 innings, so we sweated that one out. And then Nico Horner over 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs also cashes for us, and that was a sweat as well. But we will take the 2-0 night. We also come in here and unfortunately have to rain on the parade. Rain on the parade as Joshua sends out his ride of the day. Tony Kemp over 0.5 bases. I like the play. He hit 9 of his last 10. Unfortunately, it doesn't come through. So our ride of the day does not hit. But like I said, guys, if you use hashtag ride of the day and give me an absolute banger of a pick, I'll be jumping on board with it. Then you guys get a shout out in the next video, win or loss. But yeah, it would have been nice to have the little, 3 for 3 there with the ride of the day. But nonetheless, it was still a good pick. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump into this slate. Before we do, guys, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button as well. And I want to talk to you guys about Outlier. I've been preaching about Outlier for a while on the channel now. My favorite sports betting research tool. You can start betting on sports smarter today if you do use this amazingly simple, easily digestible, and consumable tool. Use the link in the description or the pinned comment if you do want to check out Outlier. And you know what? Why don't we just jump over and check out some of Outlier right now? You can see this is their player prop screen here. They have every single player prop that is offered on DraftKings, FanDuel, Caesars, or BetMGM. You can set minimum odds so you're not looking at the minus 600s. Say you want to look at minus 140 and below. You can see all of these plays. You could dive in. Jack Sawinski here, under 1.5 strikeouts for minus 110 on DraftKings. Looks like he's hit in 4 of his last 5, 9 of his last 10, 80% of his last 20. Let's click in, see what we got going on here. Yeah, he's been crushing the under here this season. You can even look at him against left-handed pitchers, so we could find him. He's right here, batting 217 on the year with a 32% K rate against lefties. That K rate jumps up to 45% right there. You can't see it because of my camera, but 45% right here. Maybe this is something we actually stick away from now knowing that knowledge. But nonetheless, guys, they have tons of things. They have the game tabs as well, so you can go through and see game trends as well as where the money is, both percent-wise and the money, obviously. So, guys, definitely encourage you to check out Outlier. Use the link in the description or the pinned comment. You get a 7-day free trial. Would not steer you wrong. Definitely worth checking out. Let's go ahead and jump into game number 1 here as we have Atlanta taking on Minnesota. Like we said yesterday, we cashed the under in this game. The Braves come through for us in terms of our lean there, and they kind of keep Minnesota's offense down, which is how we kind of thought this one would go. In this game today, I do think it's going to flip a little bit here. We have Maeda on the mound for Minnesota. He's 1-4 with a 6.86 ERA and a 1.4 WHIP. And then Allard on the mound, who hasn't pitched in a couple of years here for the Braves. I am going to lean towards Minnesota just because, the pitching matchup here. Not that I love Maeda, but I do want to see something out of Allard before kind of trusting that side of things. So I'm looking at Minnesota at plus 140 on the money line as a slight lean today. And then in terms of the total, 10 runs is where it sits right now. I have a feeling both these pitchers are going to get batted around. We had two really good pitchers in Joe Ryan and Bryce Elder on the mound yesterday, and that finished at 6-2. So I have a feeling this one is going to be a high scoring game. I'm going to lean towards the over 10. I do wish that it was a little bit lower at 8.5, 9 like it has been so far in this series. Because I think 11 runs is going to be a lot to ask for, but I do think that these pitchers are going to struggle today. So I lean Minnesota as well as the over. Keep an eye on the pinned comment to see if those become final plays. All right, Seattle taking on Washington. I wish I listened to my own advice yesterday and took Washington on the money line there, plus 213 odds. They end up winning 7-4. Now on the mound for Seattle is going to be Gilbert. He's 5-4 with a 4.07 ERA, but a low WHIP at 1.02. Corbin on the mound for the Nationals here, 4-9 with a 5.32 and a 1.6 WHIP here. I think that these odds are just kind of putting this one out of reach in terms of play here. I don't really want to lean Nationals again. I don't think they pull it off 2 games in a row. And the Mariners at minus 250 don't really get me excited there. What I don't mind is going to be the over 8 runs here. We saw 8-4 so far in this series, then 7-4. I think that we're scoring a lot of runs in this game. I like the side of the over. Does that become a final play? it's kind of tough to trust the offenses. Like I said, I don't necessarily see Seattle, I don't necessarily see the Nationals going out there and dropping 7 runs again. So if they can give us 3 to 4, I really do like this over, but I think it's going to come down to them. I think the Seattle Mariners are going to give you a minimum, 4 to 6 runs today, which is going to be really good facing Corbin, but I just want to see the Washington Nationals kind of give us some juice. That way we can look at this over and kind of just go, drive right by and, score another 8 to 4, 7 to 4 type game. But I don't know if that becomes a final play. You probably can tell by the way I'm rationalizing it. Not the most confident in it, but I still do lean the over. All right, Pittsburgh taking on San Diego. Pittsburgh getting the dub yesterday, 9 to 4, when they were very big underdogs as well, which is crazy. In terms of today, Pittsburgh still underdogs at home at plus 140. The total sitting at 8 runs in this one. Mitch Keller's on the mound for Pittsburgh, 8-3 record, 3.45 ERA with a low 1.1 WHIP, and then Blake Snell on the mound for San Diego, 4-6 with a 3.2 ERA and a 1.2 WHIP. Pittsburgh does hit lefties better than they do righties. I'm going to say that I lean towards Pittsburgh on the value side of things yet again, but most likely the Padres do probably bounce back and win this game. I just don't see the value at minus 155 for a Padres team that has been up and down as of late and has been up and down in their last 10 as well. They've lost 6 of their last 10, and their competition hasn't been like the craziest of competition either. So make note of that, guys. It's not like they're rocking and rolling or cruising to victories or anything. This Padres team is definitely underperforming as of late. So I'm going to lean towards the Pittsburgh side of things because I do like that plus 140 with a good pitcher on the mound and an offense that does hit lefties better than they do righties. We might leave that as a lean though, because like I said, I could totally see the Padres coming back and just winning this one. I just don't want to pay the 155. In terms of the total, 8 runs here. Yesterday's game finishes 9 to 4. So obviously I think a lot of people are going to be up on the over here, but I think this one actually does go under 8 runs. I think that Mitch Keller keeps the Padres offense down, and hopefully Blake Snell can just have a couple, glimpses or flashes there of his old self, and this game can kind of finish right around that, 4-2, 4-3 mark here. So I'm going to lean towards the under as well as the Pittsburgh Pirates in this game. All right, we have Baltimore taking on Cincinnati here. Baltimore minus 165 favorites at home. Total sitting at 9.5 runs. Yesterday, Cincinnati, after the delay, comes back, gets the win here. They win 3-1. Now on the mound for Cincinnati's Luke Weaver, 1-2 with a 6.86 ERA and a 1.59 WHIP. Kyle Gibson on the mound for the Orioles, 8-5 with a 4.3 ERA and a 1.34 WHIP here. I do think that this one gets back up and over. I leaned towards the under yesterday in this game. Now, not even weather dependent in terms of my lean. I just thought the offenses would come back down to earth, which they did in a 3-1 finish there. But I think actually this one kind of flips back to what we saw in game 1, which is a high scoring game. So I do like the over as my first lean. And then you're going to give me the Reds at plus 150. I'll send it. That team is too talented right now and playing too good of baseball overall to kind of pass up on that opportunity. So you get them at plus 150. I like those odds there. I like this Baltimore team, but I'm not a minus 165 customer there at Baltimore. I think the value is going to be on the red side of things if you really do want that return on investment. So I'm going to look at Cincinnati. If you do want to play it a little bit more safe, Cincinnati in their last 10 games as underdogs on the run line, plus 1.5, have covered that in 9 of their last 10. It's because they're winning a lot of games as underdogs as well. But nonetheless, guys, if you want to play it safe, I don't hate the run line for Cincinnati at minus 130 either. But there is some serious value in Cincinnati at plus 150 here. I do think that this is a good spot for them. The pitching matchup, I'd give the nod to the Orioles, but the Cincinnati offense, is making big hits or, hitting the ball in pretty clutch situations and everything there. So it's almost like dependent. It doesn't matter who's on the mound. As of right now, this offense is cooking. Even when they score 3 runs, they score when they need to type of thing. So I do lean toward Cincinnati. And I don't necessarily, I will say, I talked about it yesterday, I don't necessarily think that they're like hot anymore. I think that they're still hot in terms of playing really good baseball. But yesterday's game, yes, the delay, everything threw it off, but I will throw the caveat in that they've scored 3 runs in 2 straight games. So if they don't go out there and score a decent allotment today, I may start to consider Cincinnati a little bit different and try to spot some regression moving forward. But for right now, I like the over and I like Cincinnati at plus 150 today. All right, Toronto taking on San Francisco. We do not know who is on the mound for Toronto today, so we cannot really jump into that. But yesterday, San Francisco gets this win 3-0. We do have odds, however, -120 for Toronto here, and then the total sitting at 8.5 runs. I am going to look at Toronto here, but it's really going to come down to who is on the mound. So keep an eye on that. If we find out who's on the bump, we can throw a final play in the pinned comments. I'll update that there, but I do want to know who is playing or who is pitching for them prior to making that assumption and making that lean. So I'm going to lean towards Toronto. Don't really want to consider any over-unders yet as well. So keep an eye on the pinned comment, guys. We're up a little bit early doing this video, so we don't have opening lines or anything like that yet. So I do apologize, and we don't have a pitcher for this game either. So a couple question marks before I do make my leans. All right, Mets taking on the Brewers, and I'm very glad at the last minute. You know how in yesterday's video, I was like, I like the Brewers today, but they just cannot bat left-handed pitchers and whatnot, and I'm kind of glad that I stayed away from them. They ended up losing 7-2. The total did finish right on the number, so if you did take the total at 9, it did ultimately push, but today we're looking at an 8.5 total, and the Mets are favored at -145. They have Senga on the mound, who's got a 3.5 ERA, a 1.34 whip, going up against Wade Miley, who has kind of a quiet 5-2 record, 2.9 ERA, and a 1.03 whip. Now, the Milwaukee Brewers did not look that great yesterday, and I get that, but I do still think that this could be a good spot for them at +130 odds with a pitcher that is doing his job. So I'm going to lean towards Milwaukee in this one. Maybe it's a little bit crazy. I get it, but they are going up against a right-handed pitcher in which they bat right-handed pitchers better than they do lefties, and it's opposite for the Mets. The Mets don't hit lefties as well as they do righties here, and they have a lefty on the mound against them today in Wade Miley. So slight lean towards Milwaukee. In terms of the total, 8.5 runs, I am going to lean towards the over. I want to see something out of Milwaukee, though. That's really going to be the key here. If we see the Mets go out there, and, they are -145 favorites, so they're expected to win this game. If they go out there and win this game, how it's expected to go, I think this is going to be another like 5-2 type of a win, and the over doesn't even come close. So we're looking for Milwaukee to kind of step up in this case and score. Probably, I'm going to say, if we're going to hit this over, Milwaukee's going to have to give you at least half of that. So we're going to look at 4 runs from them. So will that happen? I'm not quite sure. I'm not all that confident in it, but I do like the side of Milwaukee today as well as the over, but the over is just barely making it into that lean category because I'm not sure that I can necessarily trust both of these teams to show up on the same day, which has not happened yet in this series. All right, guys, if you do take part in the daily fantasy player prop pick'em format apps out there like Prize Picks, Underdog, No House Advantage, Thrive Fantasy, then you truly do need to be using the DGF Optimizer, guys. It is an awesome tool. I use it every single day. I've talked about it for plenty, over a year, or just about, I guess, a year at this point too. And what it does, it looks at Prize Picks lines as well as all the other apps that you know and love here too, guys. But Prize Picks we'll look at for an example here. It compares Prize Picks lines with Sportsbooks lines, and then also looks at Sportsbooks odds. So right now, the best odds play and the best chance to hit is going to be Drew Smyly over 4.5 strikeouts. Why? Because Prize Picks is offering at 4.5 strikeouts. Sportsbooks also offered at the same line, but look at the odds on Sportsbooks right now. FanDuel -158 or -156, Caesars -141, DraftKings -135. Very juiced towards the over, and Sportsbooks obviously a profitable business long term. Sometimes you got to trust where their odds are going because they think that that is the likely outcome, and odds do not matter on Prize Picks. It's a fixed payout structure. So you throw a -143 play in with a -140 play, you could still go 2 for 2 and 3 times your money. It's not like a normal parlay here. So right now we got a few good plays at the top of the optimizer. If you're on Prize Picks, go hammer these right now. We have Drew Smyly, we have Cody Bellinger, JP Sears, Wade Miley here. His line on Prize Picks is 3. On Sportsbooks, it's 3.5. So there's some value there as well with that kind of safety net push potential. Go check out the DG Optimizer, guys. I have a link for that in the description as well as the pinned comment. That is a great tool that is definitely recommended by plenty out there that like to bet on sports analytically and mathematically, and I fall into that boat as well, guys. Go check it out. Use that link in the description as well as the pinned comment. Let's get back to the games. All right, we got Red Sox taking on the Mariners. Mariners pumped the Red Sox yesterday, 10-1. We don't know who's on the mound for the Red Sox yet, and we do not have odds as of right now, so we got to kind of skip past this one. I do think that this could be, depending on who's pitching, I guess, a bounce back spot for the Red Sox, but I also don't want to be a biased Boston fan here, so I'm going to skip this game for now as we don't know who's on the mound, and we don't even have opening odds in this game either. But nonetheless, guys, keep an eye on the pinned comment to see if any final plays come from this game. I don't know what I'm going to be thinking about this game regardless of who's pitching, though. I think it's a Red Sox bounce back, but again, could be biased. But 10-1 yesterday, yikes. But let's move on here, guys. All right, St. Louis taking on Houston. Houston actually gets the lead yesterday, but then ends up blowing it. They lose 4-1 to the Cardinals. Cardinals have Mikolas on the mound today. He's got a 4.23 ERA, a mid-ones whip with a 4-5 record. Christian Javier on the mound for Houston, pitching well, 7-1 with a 3.2 ERA and a 1.12 whip. I do like the Astros in this spot. You have even money as well. I think that is where my lean is going to go. And then in terms of the total, 4-2 yesterday. I don't necessarily see this Cardinals team scoring that many runs as of late, and you can make the same argument about Houston too. So as much as it pains me, I'm going to skip this total. I think 8.5 seems like it's like a good opportunity to go up and over, but we had a total of 7 yesterday, and they finished with 6 runs. So though I think that this could be a good opportunity, for these pitchers to let up a few more runs than normal, I'm going to stick away from the total. So I don't really have a lean on that, but I do really like Houston with the value today at plus 100 odds. They're even over on DraftKings. I'd probably get on that early because I do think a lot of people are going to be coming onto Houston. Pause. But I do think that this is going to be a line that by the time, someone gets to it, it could be a minus 105, minus 110, which is still fine, but even odds way, way better. So if you are on the Houston side of things, I would act fast because I think that those odds may move just a hair. All right, we have the Cubs taking on the Phillies. Yesterday, Phillies win this one 5-1, but we did hit our player prop. Nico Horner over 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs. He cashes that for us late. Drew Smyly on the mound for the Cubs today, 7-4 with a 3.38 ERA and a 1.22 whip. Aaron Nola on the mound for the Philadelphia Phillies, 6-5 record with a 4.38 ERA and a 1.07 whip. Philly has now won 3 of their last 4 games here. And, they're looking good. I don't want to, toot their horn too much or act like they've been crushing it as of late. Chicago, not necessarily, what we like to see. 2 losses in a row and 2 pretty bad losses. They lose to St. Louis and then they lose to Philly 5-1. In terms of odds here, Chicago's the underdog, and I understand why. I think that this is going to be a Philly spot. I like Aaron Nola on the mound today, keeping the Chicago Cubs offense kind of tamed. So I'm going to lean towards the Philadelphia Phillies in this one, minus 120 over on MGM right now. In terms of the total, I'm not really loving 8 runs. I think this one could, go up and over pretty easily, but I think that these could be decent pitching performances against 2 offenses that are struggling. We saw yesterday, it took a lot for the Phillies to even go out there and score 5 runs. You know what I mean? So I do think that this is going to be a spot in which, it under hits, but for whatever reason, this big old gut is going to have a lean of an over because I do think that, 8 runs is doable. Like, think about it. Phillies score 5 runs. Even if the Cubs just scored 2 more runs, we're pushing that number, right? While I think that the number is low for a reason, I think it's easily hittable to the over. So as confusing as that is, and I don't even consider it an official lean, I like the over here, but I do like Phillies. That's going to be my main lean in this game. All right, Texas taking on Detroit. Texas does bounce back yesterday in a 8-3 fashion here. On the mound for them today is going to be Dane Dunning, who's having a great year at 2.76 ERA, 1.17 whip with a 6-1 record, going up against Joey Wentz. Now, the odds are just terrible for Texas right now, minus 225. I'd only consider them in some sort of a parlay, but I do like them in the parlay today. Yesterday, we told you guys I like them on the run line. They cashed that pretty easily. I don't necessarily love that run line today. Just for minus 113 odds, not totally loving it. We've already seen this Texas team kind of crumble against bad teams as of late, so I'm not all that confident in it because it's not really a bounce back spot. Like, there's no emotion fueled behind this or anything like that, which was part of the reason yesterday that I had to believe that they'd come out kind of firing, which they did. But nonetheless, I'm just going to lean Texas in some sort of parlay throw-in on the money line. And then in terms of the total, 9.5 runs. This Texas offense seemed to click yesterday. I think they can get to Joey Wentz today, so I am going to go ahead and lean towards the over in this one. Texas against left-handed pitchers batting almost 300, 291 on the year here with a 365 on base percentage. So we like to see that. They don't strike out against lefties either, only averaging 2.8 strikeouts per game against lefties on the year, which is really, really low. So if you want another player prop, Joey Wentz's line is going to be super low. Wouldn't hate the under even if it's at like 4 or 3.5 or here. I do think that this is a under spot for that strikeout line because this Texas team just doesn't strike out against left-handers, which is a good sign when we also want them to take this win, right? So I lean towards Texas in this one, slight lean towards the over if Texas can get their offense going, and then also player prop throw in here. I do like Joey Wentz's under in Ks today. All right, Cleveland taking on the Royals here. Cleveland gets the 2-1 win yesterday. We don't have any updated odds as of right now. I do have where they opened up at, which is Kansas City plus 105, and the total right now sitting at 9 runs. I think this is a good spot for Cleveland. Logan Allen on the mound for them, 3-2 with a 3.68 ERA and a 1.45 WHIP. Maybe it's a trap. Like, it seems like it might be a trap. A decent pitcher going up against a bad Kansas City team, and you're only going to get, getting the odds of minus 118 over on FanDuel. Tell me in the comments, guys, if you think that this is a trap, because it is a little bit interesting to see that. I think this is some good value there. Yesterday, even though it was kind of crazy, at Cleveland minus 134. Today, they're minus 118, so even better value. I do like that side of things, but again, it could be a trap. And before we get to the next game, if you're still watching right now, guys, go ahead and drop 20 in the comments, 20, or you can spell it out, any combination of 20, because it is 20 minutes into the video, and I cannot thank you guys enough. You guys know this is one of my favorite things to do when we get all the other people that watch, bits and pieces going, why is everyone saying 20 in the comments? I love to see that. And let's also go ahead and drop Kansas City or the Royals are going to win the World Series this year, because we got some people confused last time as well. So either comment 20 or the Royals are going to win the World Series, and let's confuse some people that don't like to watch the entire video. Just a little fun there. I'm like a little cynical, you got a little cynical brain up here trying to mess people up, but it is funny to see some of the comments, because I see all the comments. I get a notification for them from someone's like, why is everyone saying Patrick Sandoval? Or why is someone saying 18? What's going on here? I love to see it for whatever reason. Makes me happy. But go ahead, drop 20, or the Royals are going to win the World Series in the comments. Let's move on to the next game. Let's literally get this train back on the tracks, because it was that close to being derailed. And just when we do want to get it back on track, we are jumping into a game that we don't have odds for here. Freeland on the mound, though, for the Rockies, taking on the Dodgers. Yesterday, Dodgers win this one 5-0. I think this is another spot for the Dodgers, kind of regardless of who is pitching, but they're going to be heavily favored here at minus 275 yesterday. I imagine them coming in some sort of a similar ballpark as yesterday. So I'm going to lean towards the Dodgers, probably in some sort of a parlay throw-in, if anything, guys. But nonetheless, I do like the Dodgers. In terms of the total, we're going to have another total that's probably way up there, at 11.5 or something like that. I'm going to consistently lean towards the under here as Colorado continues to hammer home unders on this season, guys. It's just what's been happening. They're an under team, and they're cashing more unders at home than they are over, so it's a no-brainer to me, guys. I do like the under in this one as well, until kind of proven otherwise, until further notice, All right, guys, if you want to further support me, further support the channel, consider picking up some merch. We have tons of cool stuff. I'm wearing some of the Fade Me gear as of right now. Make sure to go check it out, guys. We do have plenty of new stuff out there right now, like the jerseys that we have for the summer. We have the Locks jersey, the Tonight We Shall Cover. We have the Fade Me tank, the Ice Pop colors here. We also have a new shirt that just came out yesterday. It's a Let's Ride tee. Don't want to say that what that's referencing to in terms of, car racing series or anything like that. The Let's Ride race car tee. Very, very clean. Very, very cool. Nice lightweight t-shirts, but very durable, guys. And we also have plenty of other things out there as well right now. So make sure to go check it out, guys. It's the tee that I'm wearing as of right now. But check out some of the merch. Use the link in the description or the pinned comment, guys, and find some of this merch. It is a great way to support the channel, like I said. And yeah, it's all stuff that we design ourselves and handle all that. So I would appreciate it. It's a great way to support. And also you get merch for it. Like, I'm not going to just be like, oh, you're just supporting me. It's like, no, you're going to get some cool ass merch, guys, cool t-shirts and everything like that. So make sure to check it out, at least just to browse, guys. Go check it out. Link in the description as well as the pinned comment for the merch. All right, Angels taking on the White Sox. Angels get the win yesterday. They win that one 4-2 here. Berea on the mound for them today. He's got a 2.14 ERA, 1.06 WHIP with a 2-2 record. Going up against Lucas Frozen Yogurt Giolato here, 5-5 with a 3.41 record with a 1.2 WHIP. I think I'm going to go ahead and lean against one of the guys that we've been fading probably all season long in many spots and cashing. So I'm going to lean towards the Angels again. Yes, they've already, won 2 games here, and they're looking to sweep here, which, how often do sweeps happen? Not all that, much. But if your rationale is you're betting against the sweep, then fine. I'm not going to talk you off that. I could totally see, if you were to ask me before this series that the Angels win this series 2-1, I would agree with you. But nonetheless, looking at each and every game individually, which is what we do here, I do look at this game kind of in a vacuum and think that this still is a Los Angeles Angels spot. And I also do like the over as well. I don't necessarily think that either of these pitchers are going to kind of like suppress the offenses. The only thing that could suppress the offenses are the offenses. So I lean towards the Angels as a main lean. Kind of a throw-in lean there would be the over, but I think both these offenses can easily shoot themselves in the foot. So let's move on, guys. I hope that this is a sweep because I do like the Angels in this, but again, I'm not going to talk you off the ledge if you're kind of betting against the sweep. All right, so Oakland comes through yesterday, winning 2-1 over this Yankees team, which I definitely did not see coming. Oakland underdogs today at plus 136. In terms of the pitching, we have Sears on the mound for the A's, 1-5 with a 4.1 ERA, going up against Domingo Germán, who I rag on all the time. Yes, he looks really good at times, but other times he looks terrible. He's 4-5 with a 5.1 ERA. Nonetheless, I do still think that this is a spot in which we are going to back the Yankees, just because I don't see them losing 2 in a row to the Athletics. And to be completely honest, they do have the better pitcher on the mound today, the better offense, everything like that. So I'm going to lean towards the Yanks in this one. I don't know if it becomes a final play because, like I've said about this Athletics team as of late, it's like they're just confusing. Like, they'll win the most obscure games and you look like such an idiot for taking the other team. But nonetheless, we can't be afraid of that. I am going to lean towards the Yankees. In terms of the total, 8 runs, I think this one goes up and over fairly easily. Yes, we saw a 2-1 game there yesterday from these two teams, but both these offenses prior to had been kind of scoring some runs to some degree, like the Athletics, for example. And I'm talking about total runs, not them scoring, but like where these games have been in pace-wise and whatnot. We've seen these hit quite frequently, so I am going to lean towards the over just because I do think that these pitchers kind of get batted around. Similar to last game, though, if these offenses go out there and shoot themselves in the foot, no kidding, we don't cash that one. But nonetheless, lean towards the Yankees as well as the over. Don't really love the over. If I had to pick one that I love, I would definitely lean towards the Yankee side of things, but I don't even know if that becomes a final play because Oakland team just wins random games. All right, Arizona taking on Tampa Bay. This Tampa Bay team has been struggling as of late. They've won 4 of their last 10 games here, whereas Tampa Bay is on the other side. They've won 6 of their last 10. They have Davies on the mound today. He's got a 7.82 ERA. He does not compete with Eflin on the mound for Tampa Bay, who's 9-3 with a 3.35 ERA. Tampa Bay is heavily juiced at minus 145, but I think that this is an ultimate bounce back spot for them. I like them here. Kind of like them on the run line too, which will sound the psycho alert alarm. Even though it's a good team, they've been playing pretty poorly. I like them on the run line in this spot, and I also don't hate the over. I think this is going to be a game where Tampa Bay scores a lot of runs, which we really haven't seen in probably a week or so. So hopefully that is the case, guys, that we cash over and Tampa Bay. If Tampa Bay wins this game, I think the over has a great chance of hitting because I think it means that they kind of went nuclear. So I do think that that is the side of things that I'm leaning towards, guys, and that is going to wrap it up for today's video. If you did enjoy the video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, go ahead and use hashtag Ride of the Day. Let me know your picks in the comments. And yeah, guys, that's all we have for you guys. Hope you guys did enjoy, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. All right, peace out.